Good morning, everybody. I would like to thank everybody for taking time out of your day to join us today for our webinar here. So today we're going to be talking about our new product line, which is going to be our Pro X. And so this is more of like a little introduction, kind of giving a first look to all of y'all out there and talk about the devices, the cameras, the recorders, the software that is going to be used for our Pro X lineup, and answer a lot of your questions that you may have for this line. And so let's get started for today. So the first part of this, we are going to be talking about what Pro X is in general. And so for Pro X, it is our newest lineup. So if you've looked into our catalog, you will see that hey, we have our Platinum, which is probably one of our oldest line, uh, and it was like the most popular. We also have our Pro VS. We also have our Sapphire, which is more of like a limited product now. And so we do have a bunch of different lines. And where this one comes into play is that this is going to be a lineup that is completely LTS created. And so it's our own brand. And so one of the main things that we would like to talk about is going to be the actual quality, the technology as far as the AI. And so the main difference between these and our previous brand, our previous lines are going to be the actual warranty, which this one will have a 5-year warranty compared to the 3 years of our other ones. And so here are going to be the main applications that we have these geared towards, and that is going to be the education sector, infrastructure, government, commercial. And so those are what we're aiming for as far as implementation of this product line. That doesn't mean that you can't use it for residential or anything like that. You can still do it for those. But as far as the features for these, it is geared towards these sectors listed here. So let's go on and let's talk about the innovations and features of our Pro X lineup. So the main point of our Pro X is going to be our superior imaging, the analytics, and the value. And so imaging, if you're looking at the specs of our Pro X, you will notice that it does have very good color accuracy and low light performance. And so for those, you would pretty much look at the sensor size and the f-stop ratings, and that will reflect the really good imaging here. We've got very good analytics. Analytics meaning that we don't only just have the standard motion detection, but we also have the VCAs, such as the most popular ones like the line crossing intrusions. We even took it a step higher. We've got the motion detection 2.0, and then we also have a few more uh, AI features that I will talk about in the upcoming slides. Next, I would like to talk about is going to be the ease of use. So the interface on this is going to be very simple and it's going to be more user-friendly. And one of the main points that I would like to point out is that if you're looking at the local monitor and you're comparing it to what you're looking at on the web browser, if you're logging into the device, they are going to be exactly the same. So there is not going to be any differentiation as far as what you're seeing on the local monitor versus the web browser. So it's going to be a lot easier to kind of translate and reflect on these settings when you're trying to go through everything. Last but not least is going to be the value of our products. So looking at the product specs, the availability of different AIs and everything, these are going to be very budget friendly items for the specs that are available. So let's talk about the product line. So our Pro X line is going to be more of a we've got everything that you would ever need. So not only do we have the camera system, so we have for the camera system, we have like LPRs, we have your 24/7 color cameras, we have your basic IR cameras, we have PTZs, we have your panoramics, we have your features that people have asked for, such as your X-Deterrence, which is your active deterrence features. Our MVRs, they do have your built-in AI, so it is able to do a lot of the AI processing from the recorder itself. And we also have the cameras that have the ability to do your motion detection 2.0. Along with that, we do have some upcoming uh, products that's going to be for that lineup. So we have a IP speaker that is coming soon, and that basically will let you link any of the audio coming from the camera to the speaker. So if we are needing a lot more volume than what the camera is able to supply on a built-in speaker, or if the camera itself doesn't have a built-in speaker, then you are able to utilize this product for that. We also are going to be releasing a intercom setup for our Pro X lineup. And so with this is going to be talking about that kind of comes in line with like the access control. So if you're trying to do anything such as connecting doors, your strikes, your mag locks, all that good stuff, we do have the intercom and access control items coming into our Pro X ecosystem. We also have a cloud managed switch coming up. And so these should be released within the year. I don't have an exact ETA on that. So those are going to be coming up. And so you will be very excited to hear that those are coming. We also have one thing that's not listed on here, and that is going to be a special camera or a special line of cameras that are going to be coming up. And those are going to be cameras that are 12 megapixels. Those are going to be in all different types of form factors. So we have those in a turret, a dome, a bullet, and we also have a 180 panoramic camera coming out that is going to be in a 12 megapixel. So current devices for our Pro X. So let's talk about the NVRs. And so NVRs are going to be listed right here. And so we split these up in three different categories. So those categories are going to be your light, your intelligent, and your ultra intelligent. And so the differentiating factor between these three lineups are going to be the amount of AI that's built into each category here. So the most basic is going to be your light. Your light is, as you can see right here, is going to be a 4-channel with 4 built-in PoEs on the recorder itself. So you'll see that this recorder right here is able to support up to your 4K resolution. It does have your standard motion detection. It does have your VCA, such as your line crossing and your intrusion detection. So we move up along the one of the things I want to point out before I keep going, the 4-channel right here is not going to have any additional AI on the recorder side. So if you're adding a third-party camera or a camera that does not have any AI built in, because you know a lot of our IP cameras, a lot of the AI processing is done on the camera side. So what happens if you don't have any on the camera side? Well, this recorder does not have it on the recorder end, so it won't be able to do that. So if you're wanting to use the 4-channel and you're wanting some AI on there, then it's best to have a camera that has the AI built in. As we move up, you'll see that it's going to be the intelligent line. And so the intelligent line, it incorporates the AI on the recorder side. So if we decide to, let's say we just want to get basic cameras, we don't want any of the AI, or we don't have a need for the AI, or just to be a little bit more budget friendly, to get a more budget friendly camera and add it to one of these recorders right here, it is able to do your AI processing from the recorder side. So the recorder will basically take the video from the camera and it does the processing on here. So not only is it able to do your standard motion detection, your line crossing, or any of those other detections, it's able to incorporate your face detection and pretty much any of the motion detection stuff like your human and vehicle filtering that will be available on the intelligent line. Last but not least is going to be our ultra intelligent lineup right here, which is going to be these two models. These are going to be our higher channel count recorders. So as you can see from the model number here, we've got a 64 port, and we also have or not a 64 channel and a 34 channel, or not 34, a 32 channel. The 32 channel will have the built-in PoE. As you can see from the model number, it has a 24 port built-in PoE. The 64 will not have any built-in PoEs, but it does have 2 LAN ports for connecting to a network, or adding your cameras via an external PoE switch. This adds another layer of AI on it. The main thing being our X search function, and we will talk more about the X search function in the upcoming slide. All right, let's talk about our camera lineup. So our camera lineup, we split it up into different series also. So your most basic cameras will be these right here, which is going to be the light. And so those, just like we were talking about with the recorder, these do not have the AI on the camera side. So AI meaning like your human vehicle filtering, like your MD 2.0, but it still will have your motion detection, which is your most basic type of detection. It just goes off pixel changes in the image. And also it will have your VCA. Your VCAs being the most common is going to be your line crossing and your intrusion detection. Intelligent line will be these right here. And so the intelligent will bring more to the table, meaning that it does have your basic AI, such as your motion detection 2.0, which is for your human vehicle filtering. And you will do notice here that we do have our different form factors. So if you're looking at the model numbers here, we do have your most popular form factors, such as your turrets. We do have your bullets, your domes. And so these are going to be your fixed lens. While on the last column here is going to be your varifocal. So you're able to zoom in and out on whatever you're wanting to see. This page, we will talk about the more specialty or the niche type of cameras that are available. So if your job or your project requires it, then we do have those available. Starting from, we do have our fisheye. The fisheye is a 12 megapixel unit. And so, yes, these cameras, you can see by the icon here, they do have the built-in AI on here. We also have our multi-lens. Multi-lens meaning that this has 4 individual lenses on here. So the nice thing with this one, each lens is going to be set at 5 megapixels. We also have this one right here. This is a dual lens. This dual lens has 2 physical lenses, so you can have those kind of pointed in multiple directions. And with these multi-lens, like the 4 lens and the dual lens right here, you are only using 1 cable. So if that saves on, while you're getting multiple images, you're only needing to run 1 cable. You don't have to run a cable for each one of the lenses. So that may save on labor costs and also your wire equipment costs. We currently have 2 PTZs in the lineup, which will be these 2 right here. These 2 PTZs, they will have your smart tracking, your auto tracking, so it is able to follow the objects that are kind of coming into the field of view of the PTZ itself. And last but not least, for our specialty cameras, is going to be our LPR, our license plate camera. And so, yeah, so that's going to be it for our specialty cameras. We also have a line of cameras for our, which will be called our color series, which are the Color 24/7 cameras. So if you've played around with any of our other lineups, you'll notice that we have a line of cameras which is called Color 24/7. What that basically means is they have larger CMOS sensors, they have a better f-stop rating on there, and that in turns, they will give you a very good color image at night. So you're not needing to use the IR, which gives you that black and white image. Black and white image, you kind of lose a lot of the details. So kind of, for instance, if you have a black and white image, then okay, what color is the car? What color is the clothing that the people are wearing? You lose a lot of those details. So if you're needing to use footage for evidence, going with something that has color is going to be very worthwhile. So with that being said, we do have this as far as our color 24/7 for our Pro X lineup. And so those will come in the 4 and the 8 megapixels. And so with the 8 megapixel, we've got the turret and the bullet. And then we have the turret for our 4 megapixel. We have hybrid illumination and we have the active deterrence on these cameras right here. I'll talk about what the hybrid illumination and the active deterrence is basically about in the upcoming slides. But for these, we have this in the turret, and yeah, the turret's for the 4 megapixel also. All right, let's talk about the special features that we have for our Pro X lineup. And this is what we like to call the X factor. So we see that we do have a couple of different categories listed here, and we will talk about it one by one. And we will give some examples on those. So one of the main features that we have that are going to be on certain cameras and going to be on our ultra intelligent recorders is going to be the X search feature. And so the X search is going to be a function that is AI based. And so it captures all the aspects of the target's movement. So like how the person moves, their behavioral aspects. The main thing about this is it can do all that without requiring any facial recognition. It does not need to kind of look at the face and use that as a factor to use the search function. And that kind of comes into play is because everybody is kind of concerned about privacy, and so they don't want their face being recorded or used into doing any type of searches. So if you do have any type of uh, usage where that this may be a concern, then using the X search will be a very good alternative to not having any face recognition. But without using any face recognition, this does lead and it does have high accuracy. And so that is one of the main selling points of the X search. Here is an example of the X search. It's like kind of a sample scenario. And so with this one, we will talk about here we have the owner of this vehicle notices that, oh, I've got a scratch on my vehicle. So what is happening? So he calls up the security, and the security basically can go into their system and use the X search function. What they do is they draw an area that they want to be detecting from. And once they do that, they'll able to do a search. It will basically ignore any of the people that are not within this area. And while it does capture the people that are within the area that is specified. When you do that search, this is what we're going to be pulling up. So when you do that search, it's going to be, since we do draw the area that the person is at, it is going to be pulling up a screen like this, where it's got the people, every person that has walked into that area. It will also show a percentage of accuracy that it thinks that, okay, this is going to be something that is seen from the previous selected screens. And so using that, it does provide a lot of value to the end user because it does reduce a lot of cost into tracking the crime. And since we are able to use that one top target to search for a related target, so in this case, it's going to be the vehicle which we're going to be doing the search for, and is going to be pulling the related targets, which are going to be the people that has gone up to the car. And so you can do a multi-layer search on this. So once you kind of search and you found one person, you can take it a step further and a step further until you find what you're needing. And one main thing about that I want to point out about this is that uh, once you do the search, whenever let's say we found this right here, you can kind of click on the magnifying glass. It will go through all of the X search cameras, and you can pretty much map out where the person has been or where the person is going to. So it's able to kind of follow and tell you where that person is gone. Next is going to be the X-Deterrence. X-Deterrence is pretty much what we are calling our active deterrence. So with X-Deterrence, these are going to be the main key points on that. So these cameras, they are color 24/7, meaning that with the larger sensor and the f-stop rating, we are able to get a good color imaging at extremely low light. Keyword is going to be the extremely low light. So if the area is pitch black, you probably won't be able to see in color without using the built-in LEDs. So all of these cameras, they do have a built-in white LED. So that is able to turn on if we have a area that is too low as far as lighting. But since these are larger sensors, it is able to see in lower levels of light than what is pretty much the norm and on the other cameras. These do have the Motion 2.0 feature in them. So, meaning that they are able to reduce the false alarms. So, you're able to select your human and vehicle filtering, and that reduces a lot of any false alarms that you may receive. This will have your hybrid illumination feature. Hybrid illumination is you are able to take advantage of the white light and the IR lighting that is built into these cameras. What that does is in certain situations where you don't want the light pollution of the white light, then it will basically turn on the IR lighting. And so whenever it gets triggered by a detection, so you do have to set up a detection like a motion detection or a line crossing or intrusion along with it. And so once you have set up a protection, a detection method, here's how it works. So the camera is in IR, and then a person walks into his field of view, which then the detection gets triggered. When the detection is triggered, it turns on the white light that is on the camera. That white light will illuminate the area, making the area very bright. It will be in color mode during this time. And once the person or the vehicle or the movement has stopped, it will turn back into your IR mode. So you're going to get that black and white image again. And so, yes, you do not have your color 24 hours a day, but you will get color imaging and color video for the times that you really do need it. So that is going to be the hybrid illumination mode. But if you do have enough lighting or you just want to keep the white light on if it's in an area without a lot of lighting at all, then yes, you can have those modes on and get your color 24 hours a day. These cameras do have built-in speakers and built-in mics, and so that is where the active deterrence comes in. So this camera and every camera that has your X-Deterrence, they do have the flashing lights. In this case, they are going to be your red and blue flashing lights. So if you are familiar with our Platinum lineup and the active deterrence cameras that we have for that one will only flash the white light. These are flashing the red and blue lights. It won't flash the white lights, but yeah, it is only going to be the red and blue lights. This was what was very much requested by a lot of you all, our customers, our valued customers. And so that's why we came and brought this to the lineup with the red and blue flashing lights. And since we do have a speaker on there, you are able to do your two-way audio. And so, yeah, we have the two-way audio that you can use your app, you can use the software, you can use whatever, and you are able to talk to whoever's on the camera side. And so back to the active deterrence, it's not just going to be your flashing light right here. Since it does have that speaker, they do have pre-programmed messages that you can use, or you can record your own message, and that will pretty much, kind of scare off any type of intruder or anybody that should be where they aren't. These also have, for part of our X-Deterrent is going to be dual mic arrays. And that is pretty much meaning that the camera itself will have two different mics, and it is using that as more of a noise canceling type of aspect. So here in this picture, we have the two mics that is going through the processor, and that is getting rid of a lot of the environmental noises. Environmental noises meaning like, okay, if you've used any of our previous cameras, that you may notice that it picks up a lot of wind noises. And so with this dual mic array, it is able to minimize all that and get you a clear audio of the sound that you really want. And so with the X-Deterrence, like I was saying, that it will be able to do your flashing red and blue lights. And we've got a video clip of that in the next slide. And so here we have the person walking up to the vehicle. He's walking up the vehicle, and that is crossing into the intrusion area, which you will see we have the red and blue flashing lights happening. If you're wanting kind of any videos that we are showing in this slide, we we'll have those on our YouTube channel. So if you're kind of wanting to refer to it at a later time, then you can always do that. All right, next we will talk about our X tracking. X tracking is what we are using for a lot or for a few of our cameras. So we have two different types of our tracking. The first one is going to be the E tracking. E tracking is going to be primarily on our dual lens camera. As you can see right here, this is our 180-degree camera. This 180-degree camera is pretty neat because while it does have two lenses, it is not using two channels on your recorder. So it uses one channel on the recorder. It uses one cable to power up the camera. And what it does is it takes the feed from both those lenses and it stitches it together in the middle. And so what you get is one seamless panoramic image. But the main point that we were wanting to talk about for this camera is going to be the e-tracking. And so let's play the clip for this one. Oh, looks like it's playing the smart tracking video right here. That's going to be on our PTZ. And so notice how it's able to zoom into whatever it is picking up, and that way you're able to get a better view or better image of the details of the person. All right, next is going to be our X Boost. So X Boost is going to be able to take your basic cameras. It could be third-party cameras. They could be cameras from our Pro X lineup that do not have any of the AI, and it's able to give the cameras the AI functionality. Do note that it is not doing anything from the camera side. So these are going to be basic non-AI cameras. And so we can use cameras that are from our Pro X lineup, or we can use any camera that's added into this recorder through OnVith. And so what it does is on the supported recorders, which are going to be the recorders from our intelligent and the ultra intelligent lineup, which means that's going to be the 8 channel all the way up to our 64 channel recorders. What we have access to is going to be first thing is going to be your face recognition. And so you'll see right here that on the face recognition, you'll see under type, we've got the drop down menu and it is listed as the smart recorder function, meaning that the actual face detection or the face recognition is done from the recorder itself. It doesn't require a camera to have that functionality. We also have your VCAs. Remember, VCAs are going to be your line crossing or your intrusion detection. And so when we go into here, the same area, even if we do have a camera that supports it, that has the function on the camera side, we are able to go into the drop-down menu. You'll see right here that we have smart camera function or smart recorder function. So if we want to use the function from the camera side, we will select the smart camera function. If we want the recorder to do the actual processing, we will set it to your smart recorder function. Same thing with our motion detection 2.0, which is your human vehicle filtering. You just go in there and select the channel which the camera is on, and then go to the drop-down menu and select the option. Right here is going to be a video clip of the accuracy between um, a competitor's camera versus our Pro X camera. So this is running on default settings and kind of look at the difference between the two. One of the main things I want to point out is while it is detecting on both sides, but look as the person walks out farther away, how long it actually stays detected. You'll see that it's kind of blinking on this end, showing that it has lost track and doesn't see them as a person anymore. Whereas on our Pro X lineup, this person is roughly 100 feet out, and it is still able to see him and track him as a person. All right, let's talk about the last feature on here, which is going to be our XPOE. So with the XPOE, that is a pretty neat feature on here because if we are talking about the standard uh, as far as range, then here's what we're looking at. We know that if we're trying to wire up a security camera, the main distance or the max distance is going to be roughly 320 feet. I believe the precise number is 328. So 320 feet is going to be under ideal conditions, meaning that your cable, your termination, and any outside interference is optimal and you're able to get that distance. Yes, you may say that we do have some PoE switches, or even on a lot of our recorders, they have an extend mode. If you do turn that on, then you are able to get a max of up to 820 feet. But there are limitations on that. So yes, while if you're doing the 320 feet, we do get a theoretical data transport a throughput of 100 megabits per second. If we turn on the extend mode, you are limited to 10 megabits per second. So if you are using kind of more higher resolution cameras or anything that has a lot of AI that needs to send a lot of metadata, then that 10 megabit per second may be the limiting factor. That's where our XPoE comes in. So if we turn on the XPoE, so once we have that turned on, we are able to go up to 980 feet on this one. Do note that this is talking about sending both power and sending your data. We are able to do 980 feet, and at that distance, we have 100 megabits per second. We have the extended range version for our XPoE, and that is able to go 2,620 feet on that. So PoE power along with your data. But on that one, we are limited to 10 megabits per second. So kind of go through and know the kind of the scenario that you'll be able that you're running the camera. Make sure that the 10 megabits per second will work. It's going to be a lot easier than kind of putting another repeater kind of somewhere in the middle, which means that it needs to be powered up somehow, and that will boost it out to another however many feet. So this means that one long cable is able to do that distance. Okay, so key features that we want to kind of reiterate on this. So one is going to be the superior imaging. Second is going to be the ease of use. And then the third is going to be the long-term confidence that we have in this product. So superior imaging, meaning that, hey, yes, we do have very good optical sensors on here. And so we are optimized and seeing in very good levels of light, no matter what type. Ease of use, meaning that the user interface on that, and we also have a few other things that I want to point out in the upcoming slide that will pertain to this ease of use. And then the long-term confidence, meaning that we believe that this will work so well that we do supply a 5-year warranty on this. Superior imaging. So here we have two of our um, competing cameras. These are all along the same lines. On our Pro X one, we pretty much use the most budget-friendly 8 megapixel that we have. These are all set to the default settings. These are night images with the illumination modes turned on. So first one we have right here, which is the digital watchdog. Second one is our Pro X. Third one is the Hanwha. Reason why the Hanwha one is in black and white is because they do not make a camera that has the white LED on there, so they are still relying on an IR. That's why we have this black and white image. Next comparison is going to be the exact same cameras, except we turned off the LED. Since we did turn off the LED, that means that we need to rely on the actual sensor of the camera. And so here is what we have. Once again, these are the default settings. And so the main thing that we want to look at is going to be the brightness of the imaging, the sharpness, and also do we have anything such as the ghosting? Usually the ghosting means that in order to get a brighter image, we need to turn down the exposure, which basically means the shutter speed, meaning that the shutter is blinking a lot slower. Since it is blinking slower, more light is able to get into the sensor, which gives you that brighter image. But the downside of that is that since it is blinking slower, it's not refreshing as quickly, which gives you this ghosting image here. So you see a little bit on the digital watchdog. It's still a bright, usable image, but you can see that the Pro X right here is doing the best. And once again, these are going to be on the default settings. So yes, you can go in there and kind of tweak the settings and get a little bit better results, but these are strictly off the default settings of the cameras. Okay, so I was talking about ease of use on this. So one of the things I want to talk about as far as ease of use is, so these you can add the device to the app with or without an account. So one example would be like if you are used to our Platinum lineup, you do note that if we want to add it to our app, we will basically need to register for an account with either an email address or a phone number. Once we've done that, then we can scan the QR code and be able to view the cameras. And so that may not be so bad, but then if you're wanting to share it with somebody else, they basically need to do the same thing. They need to register for an account with an email address or phone number, and then you have to share it from the first person to the next person. And so that is a lot of extra work. So with our Pro X lineup, we have listened to what y'all have said, and we have made this a lot simpler. So with this, you are able to do it without needing to register for any account. All you need to do is take the app, scan the QR code, enter in the login information like the username and password, and you are good to go. Second thing is the ability to jump to the web interface using your P2P. With this, you are able to go in without doing any port forwarding. Just click on the link and you will be able to go to the login page and make your changes for any of your settings. Third is that we are able to use the ProX app to kind of go directly into the cameras and change the settings for the cameras. So change settings such as the illumination, your detection methods, and stuff like that. Third is that we are able to manage the license plate camera recordings from everywhere you can think of. So your recorder itself, from the camera itself, you can do it from the app, and you can do it from the computer, which is going to be using the client software. In this case, is going to be the X Station. So with at LTS, we believe that this is going to be a very good product line for you, which is going to be great for your long-term solution. So we do have a secure supply chain. These are all designed in the USA by LTS, and they are manufactured in unrestricted countries of origin. Second is you do have the confidence to use this product because we do have a 5-year warranty on all of our Pro X products. And so that will cover any manufacturer defects that the item will have. All right, let's talk about the software and the apps that are used for this because, everything is only as good as, the whole ecosystem. So if the cameras are good, but the software side is lacking, then it really doesn't make a point or any difference there. So let's talk about the actual software. So here is what we have as far as the software lineup. We have the X Portal software. X Portal is going to be the discovery tool. This discovery tool is what you would use if you're trying to set up the camera or your recorder. And so remember that if we do have a recorder with built-in PoEs, they will still plug and play. So what if you have a device that does not have built-in PoE? That's where the X Portal comes in. This is similar to our Platinum IP portal, but it does have some extra abilities. So besides being able to activate the camera, give it an IP address and password, this will have limited settings that you will be able to change for the device itself. So you can kind of go in there, change settings such as the kind of configurations for like your turn on and off lights and stuff like that on the cameras, like your illumination. Next is going to be the X Station. X Station is going to be the client software. So this is compared to our Platinum in VMS, where you install it onto the computer. You're able to not only do everything that the X Portal will do, but you do have the ability to see your live view, do your playback, record the videos, onto the computer, and so on. We have the X Player. X Player is what is used to play the videos that you did download out or play, do any post recording kind of snapshots or kind of make the video clips a little bit more concise. Reason why you use this is, yes, we do have the standard formats such as like MP4 and all that stuff that is widely available. You can use any player for that. We also have a proprietary one, which is the LAV format, which is used for ProX. And so these are kind of for if you're using this clip as evidence, then of course law enforcement doesn't want you to be able to kind of make any video edits to the video itself. They want the original raw video. And so this X player is going to be able to decode the video stream or the video clip that you will have. And so no worries as far as any type of editing or worries about them not being able to use the clip for evidence. If we are on a mobile app, so that is either a phone or tablet or any mobile device, we do have the app for it, which is going to be the LTS Pro X. So all you need to do is go into your app store, type in LTS Pro X, and you will see the app that we'll be using for our Pro X lineup. All right, that's all I have for my presentation. Let's see if we have any questions. So it looks like a lot of the questions have been answered by our product manager. So Victor, our product manager, has kind of manning the chats. And so he's able to answer any of the questions that y'all may have, but let's go over them. So the first question, so LTS access control units are compatible. So on this one, if you're trying to talk about like our platinum access control equipment, then the actual door controllers will not be compatible because we do have specific Pro X door controllers coming out for it. But your kind of your accessories, kind of like your door strikes, your mag locks, exit buttons, and all that will be compatible with that. Can the Pro X NVR work with regular old cameras? Yes, because if you're looking at, all of these are going to be ONVIF compatible. So yes, you can set and add the camera itself to like a third-party camera or our Platinum cameras or any one of our cameras that we currently sell to your Pro X recorder. So you do note that if you are adding in using ONVIF, that depending on the ONVIF profile, there is going to be certain limitations as far as what metadata is supported by the recorder. But if you're using an 8 to 64 channel recorder, then that wouldn't be an issue because it is able to do it from the recorder side. So that way it won't need to make use of any of the detections that are on the camera itself. Next question. Since the Ultra Intelligence series has MD 2.0 and face recognition, could you put a light camera and utilize all those AI features? Oh, yeah, you can utilize all the AI features from the recorder side. Light camera is exactly like it sounds. It's light, it has light AI, meaning that all it has is your standard motion detection and some basic VCAs. If you're wanting some extra AI, you can have the recorder do it from the recorder side. Next is what are the unrestricted countries of origin? Our products are currently made in Vietnam. I believe we do have some that are coming from the Philippines. We are also planning on having these produced in other TAA countries in the future. Next question. Can the IP speaker camera be used for multicast paging? That would be a question for our product manager. Victor, are you able to answer that question here?
Hello. Sorry, I was answering other questions. Could you repeat the question to
We
me?
have a question saying that can the IP speaker or the speaker on the camera be used for multicast paging?
Multicast paging. What do you mean? So our IP speaker is able to bound with multiple cameras. Like for example, you have 10 cameras on the same recorder or same network, right? So you can bound those IPC into the same IP speaker. And then if you want to do a two-way audio or if you want to trigger the alert, you are able to like any of these cameras trigger the alert, then the IP speaker will be able to play the pre-recorded audio.
A lot of our competitor like Luna, if you know that brand, they have a very cool feature that technician can log in remotely and see online if there is a problem with their client's CCTV and do all the troubleshooting while they are basically everywhere. I was wondering if something like that can be happen with the Pro X series.
Yes, absolutely. So we have a software called X Station. So you're able to add all cameras, not even from even not in your local network, right? You can add those cameras into the X Station, and then you can monitor the status whether it is online or offline, right? And then you are able to remote into the device web interface without having to do the port forwarding, which is this is one of our easy to use feature to do all the troubleshootings.
And that will be for every installer. He will have his own username, and he can add all his client to that basically
If
cloud.
you're
Or
talk Yeah, if you're talking about that one, so our X search, I'm sorry, our X station is the VMS that if you put the device under your name, you're able to view, also even view the image, right? So if you're an installer and you want to do the device monitoring or device health status monitoring, then we will have another product line called X Cloud in the near future, actually in less than a month. So that one is a pure cloud solution. So you're as an installer, you're able to add all the device that you installed for your customer, right? So your customer need to give you a permission that he want you to monitor the device, and then after that, you are able to monitor the health status, and you are able to do the remote troubleshooting. But that feature is as under the X Cloud product line. So the answer is yes.
okay, it's something that maybe you should guys look to do for the whole system, because it's very helpful for us to be able to, if we get a call from a client that there is a problem with the cameras, that we be able to go online and just troubleshoot it before we send a technician over. And another thing that I want to mention that first of all, we love LTS. I love LTS personally. I'm using LTS in basically 2011. The only thing is that with the notification is great. We actually seeing a lot of result, but sometimes at nighttime or early morning when the crime is actually happened, and you do get notification from the app, but let's say the customer is sleeping, we need to do something like that when the app, you can choose that to create some kind of an alarm that actually going to wake up the clients or going to make more attention than just push notification to the app, because when something happen, you get push notification and sometimes you ignore it, or sometimes you're asleep and you're not near the phone. And if there is actually an alarm on the phone that's actually going on when you arm the system, that will be very helpful to someone to wake up and actually cut what happened. That will be a big advantage.
Well, keep in mind that with our Pro X line, we don't need to do any port forwarding. So honestly, you can basically take your phone app or take the X Station client software, add all the connections on there. And so all you need to do is put in the username and password, and you have access to all of these settings on the recorder. So I guess that's one of the pros. I think that's kind of in line of what you're asking there.
Yeah, but they actually, if the app will, instead of just sending a push notification with very just one tone, that it's like you got a message, instead of just sending that tone, a customer actually can choose to have, I don't know, an actually alarm on the phone that will ring until he stop it, and he will basically look at it, because people when they're asleep, nobody even wake up to that tone, to that notification.
Okay, got it, got it. Yeah, it sounds like the feature you're talking about is similar to the High Connect Pro. That's like the installer interface.
I think that's what basically the Achilles for all the app, because you wanna, when something happen, and if you're just getting like a very short tone like in a message, most of them ignore it. But if you're actually gonna get like something like an alarm or ringtone that will play for more than a second, you can actually prevent more prevent more stuff that happen. And I think it's pretty easy to program something like that or add a feature like that to the mobile app.
Okay, yeah, no problem. Yeah, thanks for your feedback. Yeah, we'll take that into consideration and we'll pass it up the totem pole and see if we can get that implemented.
Okay, and there is a place that we can see actually guide how the mobile app is working and how it's look.
You mean like a walkthrough as far as the mobile app itself?
Yes.
Yeah, we'll probably be having with that in a upcoming webinar. So this is more of like an introduction, kind of let everybody know that hey, we do have this product line out. We will be having upcoming webinars or even videos on our YouTube page that shows how everything works. In the meantime, I think that we do have a YouTube or yeah, a YouTube video on this one, so you should be able to access that from YouTube itself.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much. It was very exciting and looking forward to work with that new line.
Mhm. Any other questions? You can put in the chat or unmute yourself.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hey, how you doing? So we just recently had two installations, two services for our two of our customers. We had an issue with the app itself, and where when we try to add the system to the MVR to the app, we was getting this pop-up message asking for an encrypted password. If I'm not mistaken, we called support and they had us reboot or reinitialize the MVR, and we was able to get the app up and running. That's one thing, and the other one is when the customer wants to use the app on one phone and share the same phone, same username and password of his cloud, let's say to another person, and that they want to have the system working, it kicks them out from the other phone. So is there a way, instead of me set up the ports on different phones, that the customer can use his login information from from his account in different devices at the same time?
So to answer your first question about the code, I believe you're talking about the platinum lineup. So for the platinum line, if you go into
No, I'm
the
talking about Pro X.
Pro X,
We did, yes, we did Pro X. Um, it was like 3 weeks ago. It was a 32 channel MVR. And when, everything was up and running, installers finished, we was trying to set up the account. When we set the account up and, we was trying to add the MVR was asking for an encrypted password. I was not able to add the MVR to the account. Called support. Support told me to try to reboot the MVR. We did that remotely, and after that, we was able to add the equipment.
Okay, Victor, would you like to help with this question here?
I mean, the situation was resolved on the spot. It's just I just wanted to let you guys know that happened at the moment when we finished the installation. But the concern that I have is that the customer cannot have two devices with the same account. It'll kick them out from one phone to the other every time they gotta sign into it.
Hi. Hi, sorry. I'm Victor. I just lost my network. So I heard about the question. Yes, indeed, there was a problems and we are able to solve it. So if you see this in the future, there's a very easy way to solve it, which is just log out to your account and log into your device from local. And this is already a known issue. So the developer is about to release a new firmware of the MVR, which will completely or permanently solve this problem.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah. So in terms of the question being mentioned by the previous person, sorry, I was cut it, like the networks was lost. So for example, if a criminal intrude your property at like 2 a.m. where everyone is asleep, then there's a very simple way to solve the problem. We call it X-Deterrence camera. So the camera will automatically sound the alarm without anybody or any owner like property owner having to speak up. Like the camera can directly trigger the red and blue light and pre-recorded audio. So in this way, the problem will be solved.
Hey Victor, I think they were wanting to see if whenever you get a notification, it'll keep ringing until you actually respond to it. Because usually the notification just kind of beeps once and it stops. And so they just want to make sure that it keeps ringing so somebody actually responds to it.
Well, the problem of this is the reason why we did that. We didn't design this kind of mechanism is it is very difficult for the camera to distinguish mistake versus real threaten. Like for example, if a homeless people just walk by, or if there's a car that mistakenly went into a place where it shouldn't be, right? So if we keep ringing the bell, then it will be annoying. So that's the reason why we designed this kind of automatic mechanism for the camera to deter the intruder. Another way is so the Pro X have the X station, which is the software, right? And then if a third party like video monitoring company is able to also log into the camera, then they are able to respond even during the midnight. So that's normally the reason why we don't want to directly annoy the owner of the property, but use these two ways, like either the monitoring center or the automatic deterrence to deter the crime.
Hey, it's Eddie. Back to that question that the guy was asking about alerting at night. I actually have a similar problem like that. When the owner's sleeping in at home, people are hiding behind the garage and sleeping in the garage and so forth. I think the next step, I'm just throwing ideas out there. I don't know if it's possible. Right now, a lot of people are wearing Apple Watch and wearable wear. Does the alert able to send alert to the Apple Watch?
Well, for the homeless people sleeping in the property, we do have another solution called loitering detection. That means if a person stay
No. The thing is, when the owner's sleeping at home, when they're sleeping like 3 o'clock in the morning, if the alert can able to send it to alerting on the Apple Watch, because the Apple Watch vibrates on his hands, so that will able to wake them up.
Yeah. So we have a iOS cell phone app, and then the cell phone app will not keep vibrating. It will pop up the alert once, right? I'm not really sure whether the iOS app can be operated on the Apple Watch. I don't really have one, but I think it is able to do so, but I'm not really sure. But I do think if you enable the loitering detection on the camera, then the camera will keep sending a loud noise, so that the homeless people will not be able to keep sleeping under that scenario, right? Also, if you think
are you in New York, or are you in somewhere else? Are you in Alaska?
No, I'm in New Jersey.
I know, but they don't care. You have even the police come, they still sleeping there. They don't even care. So
Oh,
you
really?
think little noise and little light will kick them out of the area?
Oh, okay.
Right. It's
Yeah.
hard.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think the push notification will keep vibrating. I don't think the current software is able to do that. But if you really need that, we are able to customize. If we think this is a real like common requirement, we are definitely able to customize that. So as I said, ProX is our own product line, is owned by LTS. So we have a lot of control over the manufacturer and the developer. So we are able to control the development. So yeah.
Yeah, that's the feature that I think it would be very useful. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank
Thank you. Thank you for your feedback.
Hey, is the X station available for iOS?
Well, if you are talking about the cell phone, we have an app called ProX. But if you're talking about the MacBook, the Mac version of X-Station is in development, so the ETA will be approximately Q3 this year. So currently we have a Windows-based X-Station, but for Mac, it is Q3.
Yeah, I have that issue right now. I have a customer, and we have two systems, and all they use is Apple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we actually ran into this issue before. My suggestion would be, firstly, you are able to use the web browser of the MVR. So the functionality is quite similar. And also, so I remember a few weeks ago, I deal with a school, right? They are able to use the web browser as well as the iPad for the for the monitoring and playback.
All right. Any other questions before we wrap it up for today? Keep in mind that we do have a second session that's coming up that's later on today. So if there are any questions that haven't been answered, then you can always join the second session or just call and talk to your sales rep and get them the question. We'll be able to answer it without any issues. Looks like we have one other question here. Go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I have a quick question. Thank you so much for the meetings. Very productive and very educational. I appreciate it. I've been using LTS and other brands like ENS and Hikvision and Uniview as well. But I ran into this issue where I plug in LTS NVR into the network, and it gives me a different subnet. And sometimes system administrators they refuse to change the IPs of the DVR. So if I plug the PoE cameras into the network, it recognizes me immediately through the IP search. But if I plug them into the DVR, the NVR, sorry, it gives it a total different IP address, making it more difficult to configure. Is there a way I can work around where I plug the NVR into the network and it gives me the same subnet mask of the current network?
Because you can always go into the IP portal and do a DHCP. That will basically scan the local network and get assigned an address that's in whatever network is currently on. Or you can go in there and manually set that up.
So every camera that I add to the NVR will also have the same subnet mask IP address. Is that correct?
Are you plugging into the built-in PoE or are you going into an external PoE?
It goes from one PoE into a LAN port of the NVR, and then the other cameras go into the NVR as well. It was a 32 camera job. The NVR only has 16 PoE, so I plugged in 15 cameras in one PoE switch. But I had a conflict because it was giving a different IP address.
So keep in mind, if you're plugging into the built-in PoE of the recorder, that is going to be on a separate segregated network. That network is going to be set. If you go into the network tab of the recorder, you'll see where it says internal NIC IPv4 address. You can change that to whatever it is. I believe by default it's set to like 192.168.188. And then all the cameras are going to be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc.
Right.
If you're plugging in on the LAN side, that's going to be on the network that you are currently on. So if you do have that set on DHCP, it's going to basically ask the router that's on the network, hey, what's an IP address I can have? And it will be automatically assigned an IP address. You can make a static by after it's pulled an IP address, then take it off of DHCP.
It makes sense. All right. Thank you.
All right. Any other questions before we end?
Last question. Can you send this video that you recorded?
I believe we do have a recording on it. They'll probably put it up on our YouTube page afterwards.
Got it. Thank you.
Yep. All right. Victor, do you have any final comments?
No. I mean, I feel that the NVR AI is a very common question that has been asked, so I want to repeat. So many customers are asking whether they are able to put the regular camera into Pro X NVR and get all the AI functionality. So the simple answer is yes. So like for example, if you have an old installation, like you have an old building with a lot of cameras, like regular cameras, whether it's 1080p or non-AI, it doesn't matter. So if you just put a Pro X NVR into the system, you are able to get like any NVR above 8 channel, like it can be 8 channel, 16 channel, or 32, 64 channel, any NVR above 8 channel, then you will be able to have either a human and vehicle motion detection, line crossing, or face detection or face recognition, all this kind of fancy feature added into the system. So this is a very low cost solution for the customer to add AI into the old system. So yeah, I just feel this is a common question, so that's the reason why I want to repeat. Other than that, I want to thank you all for coming, and please don't hesitate to talk to your salespeople to get a sample of the product. And so we have a lot of we have many technicians here that can support you to went through all the configurations. And also we have a YouTube channel that is currently not on the official website, but your salespeople is able to send you the YouTube link, and in this YouTube link there will be uh, the the product introduction as well as how-to video. So those I believe will be a very useful tool for you to get a better understanding on the product line. And thank you again. Yeah, we actually set up a lucky draw for today's webinar, and we have already collected the email address of you. So there will be $50 Amazon gift card being sent to your to the selected customer. So our staff will contact you once once you get selected with the lucky draw, and we are going to give you that $50 Amazon gift card. Thank you.
All right, so let's end it for today. And if you have any other questions, please reach out to your sales rep, or you are free to join our next session that's coming up in a few hours. All right, thanks everybody, and y'all have a great rest of the day.